Hey there guys, welcome to the next tutorial here on the channel. In this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to make a taco weave kind of purse. I call it the taco weave because it's pretty much just shaped like a taco or a semicircle, and we're going to be weaving those strips together to create a three-dimensional purse here. So let's get started here on the tutorial. So for this video I'm going to be using the I Heart Bacon tape and the simple black tape. I thought those would be kind of a cool color, to weave together here. And first thing you need to do is kind of decide exactly how big you want the purse to be. I'm going to go with a length of 8 inches here and a height of a little over 5¼ inches. So I'm going to cut out my strips here. And for this sheet that I'm going to make, I'm going to need 6 strips of tape. So I have all those cut out right here in front of me. I'm going to stick my first 2 together, take my third one, stick it down right about there, take my fourth one, flip the whole thing over, and then apply this one here. And for my last 2 I actually need to measure on my cutting mat here, or you can use a ruler as well. We have 2, 4, and 5, so it's going to be right about there, and that's a little about 5¼ inches high. So my last strip will be stuck right here at the bottom, just like that. So your next step is to take 6 more strips, and preferably of the secondary color that you're using for your weave here, and to make an exact duplicate of the sheet that you just made. Use a pair of scissors to do any trimming on the sides to make sure that they're exactly the same, and then we'll start making the lines and cutting those out and starting to weave them together. And before we cut all the lines, across and up and down on the other one, we're actually going to take a permanent marker here, and this is where that taco pattern is going to come into play. So I'm going to kind of just freehand a simple kind of just swooping pattern here, kind of like a semicircle. It's kind of what a taco is shaped like. You want to kind of end the two on the two tips of the ends, and once you get one that's pretty much exactly the same on both sides, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, we can actually take a pair of scissors and cut those out. So we're going to do the exact same thing on this side, and once we get that cut out, we can use that as our template. So now that we have those 2 pieces cut out in kind of that taco shape, we're going to start working on our lines here. So I'm going to work on these lines vertically, going up and down on this piece here, and then I'm going to do them horizontally, of course, on the black one over here. And you want to mark these probably every inch or so. It really depends on how big you want the weave in your purse to be. But I usually go for about 1 inch or so. I typically don't measure it, I kind of just freehand it. And you're going to mark these every inch or so on your piece here. And you can use a pen or a permanent marker or whatever and do that all the way on this side. Then what we're going to do is come over to this one, and these are going to be exactly the same way, except they're going to be, of course, horizontally. And of course I'm going to go with about 1 inch on this one as well. So I'm going to mark it there, go down a little bit, and mark it again. So do that step now. Then of course, once you have all those pieces marked, you can of course start to cut them, which will be your next step there. So I've got all of these cut. These are of course horizontally cut, and these are vertically cut over here. And now what we're going to do is start weaving them together. So let's start on that. So to start weaving it, I have the very top part of the black taco over here, the black taco, and we have the bacon taco over here. And I'm going to work on just simply sticking these together. Now these should line up exactly the same way, because of course we were, actually, do I have? Yeah, I have the right way. Just want to make sure there. So we have these exactly cut out identically, so you should, just end up being exactly the same length. And of course, you want to slide these ones underneath. You can use the one taco as your guide, so of course I'm going to be lining that up on the curve over here. And of course, this one's going to go here, and this one underneath. And this will be just our guideline for the very first one, and then what I'm going to do is take a strip of tape and seal this up on the top so that it's easier to kind of feed all these through. So just keep applying all these directly on top of each other all the way to the end. So now I have that strip sealing this part down on the top, and then of course I wrapped it around the back, so that'll keep these ones stuck down there as well. From there we're going to take our next piece, and it's really simple. We're just going to simply weave this all the way through the piece here until we get that nice looking weave pattern. And of course it's going to be a little trickier, because usually when you weave something together you're doing it with just like a whole bunch of rectangular pieces. Well, these pieces are still rectangular, but since you're going to be curving them on the end, you kind of need to line them up a little bit differently. So it's not too difficult, but it just takes a little bit of time to get used to it. And then of course you can start sticking these all the way in towards the bottom here. So do that step now. So that's what it's going to look like after you've woven in all your different color strips here. So now what we're going to do is seal up the rest of the sides. For that, since it's on a giant curve, what we're going to do is cut a whole bunch of strips that are probably about 1.5 inches long, and we're very carefully going to apply these all the way around the side here. And you want to get, you know, a nice trim on the side, so I typically try to make it, you know, all exactly the same size and everything. So we'll use that exact same trim all the way around the part here. And it might get a little, you know, just crazy when you're trying to apply it, so just, you know, go as carefully as you can and make sure that it's totally stuck on here. The different pieces allow you to, you know, just go around the taco in that curved fashion, and that's what will really allow it to look really nice in the end. So we're just going to go all the way around the piece here, just like this, and then wrap those around. So that's what it's going to look like all the way around the taco. Now hopefully this wasn't too, you know, difficult for you guys to make, because you're actually going to go all the way back to the beginning and make an exact duplicate of this piece. So, you know, cut out all the strips that I showed you, mark them, weave them, and make an exact copy of this piece. It's going to take you a little while, so, you know, just work with it and make sure it's, you know, exactly identical, and then we'll move on to our next step. So work on that now. So now I have my two pieces. They're not exactly identical, but that's another story. So now what I really need to do is find out what the length of this point here is all the way around to this point, and there's really no way to do that, so I decided to cut just two really long strips. There's probably about, you know, 13 or 14 inches here. Stuck them together so I have, you know, a double-sided piece. And what this is going to be is the bottom part of the purse here. So what I'm going to do is I cut out a whole bunch of smaller pieces, and I'm simply going to connect this to the sides of the purse, and that's going to serve as the piece here. And what we're going to do is simply connect this all the way around like this to the very end. And as you can see, it needs to be a little bit longer, so I'll add a little bit more to it so that it can be connected all the way to the end there. So this is what it looks like after you've attached that side of the purse, and this will serve as the bottom part of the purse here, and as well as give it kind of like a 3D appearance and allow you to put more things into it. So now what we're going to do is take our other piece here and make sure that it's of course facing this way so it looks nice on both sides, and we're going to take a whole bunch of those little pieces of duct tape again and stick those to this side here. So do that step now. So there we have it, a nice open purse, and all the sides are sealed up. The next thing to work on is just, you know, the flap for the lid. All I did was take, you know, a rectangular piece of tape and wove that together. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fold this together. They tend to fold really well on the weave lines here, on the woven lines. And what I'm going to do is attach this to the back here. Let me adjust it so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm going to stick this down, and it should be exactly the same size. So I'm going to stick that down there, and I'm going to fold this just like this, and there we have it. I'm probably going to put a you know, a piece of Velcro here and here, and that'll be a nice, cool, you know, cool flap lid for the purse here. So to make the strap, that's actually the last part of the purse. It's also the easiest part of the purse. All you need to do is take long strips of tape, you know, stick them together, connect them, and of course you can make a strap as long as you want to. You can also make a woven strap if you really want to go all out and make it, you know, as completely woven as possible. You can also weave this part here as well to kind of give it, you know, the total weave effect. But that's not what I did for this, you know, this purse, just to save some time. You always want to kind of attach your strip inside the purse here. Use a few strips of tape to make sure that, you know, it stays attached, especially if your purse gets kind of heavy. Sometimes what I do is I cut like a slit in the side here, feed it through, seal it on the inside, then actually cut another slit and actually feed that through and stick it, you know, together on itself multiple times throughout the purse, and that actually kind of adds to the strength of it, and you kind of weave this into the part of the purse, and there's, you know, no chance it'll come off no matter how heavy your purse is. So hopefully you guys liked the video. That's how to make kind of a taco weave purse is how I call it, and of course you can go crazy with a whole bunch of different colors and designs. So hopefully you liked the video. I'll catch you next time on the channel.